I'll take this moment to say we do discuss spoilers.
Done a discussion.
Do you want to take it away?
Should I do one of my classic meme
classic.
intros?
Make it spicy.
Spicy meatball. I have the power. Wait, sorry. It's he guy. Thank you. And introduce in
I'm the other guy, Bron, also known as He-Ron.
And he's he.
Mikey, guys.
He's Mikey. The Ninja Turtle.
Also, incidentally, my younger brother.
True. We're both from like Holland, man.
I know he looks slightly older than I do. It's beard. You know, when he's clean shaven, he's younger.
Shut up, Ron. Don't put me on the spot, man.
First of all, the most obvious difference from last time is we actually have a camera now. Yep. We're filming this because it's going to make things slightly interesting. This is going to be on SoundCloud, but we're going to put this on YouTube as well. It's probably going to be nicer to look at us or not. You can also just not look at us while you're playing this on YouTube in the background. So that's good.
So I guess for the topic today, I had a quick talk with Ron, and we're going to do a somewhat more of a general Disney talk if we can. And the topics we're probably going to try and go into is a little bit of Marvel, a little bit of like Disney and the princess remakes and everything.
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of like that, and just Star Wars as well. So basically the three big things Disney are kind of doing at the moment.
And that's different from last time, if you know, because if you have listened to our last broadcast, we have on camera this looks like something completely different, so we're just going to explain. He's looking at the Wi-Fi password,
which I have conveniently taped to the
what would you say?
That's what
to the table.
What if somebody burgles your house?
Yeah, because everyone knows where I live.
A crazy fan is going to come in here and steal your Wi-Fi password.
They'll probably they live like across the street and they can see in actually. They're like, oh, you're there. Like
that's where he lives.
Huh?
But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit broader about slightly more subjects because last time we talked, it was pretty much just about DC.
Yeah.
And we feel like we need to go a little bit wider. So without further ado,
let's get into this.
As Keemstar says, let's get right into the news.
Please don't destroy our career.
Get right into the news, damn it.
Okay, so what should we talk about first? Marvel, Star Wars, or Disney princess stuff?
I think we can start talking about Star Wars first.
Alright, let's go into Star Wars.
I actually had a thought about it recently because I've been on the internet a lot, as one does.
As one does.
And
scary place, and also a
very scary
depressing place.
Totally, man.
Exactly, he knows. And
he gets it.
And one of the things that I came across at some point is a video by popular YouTuber MatBat, who in his video kind of discussed The Last Jedi and a couple of articles that have been written about it where people kind of dislike the new film because they had certain theories about it and those theories were not confirmed. And I just had a couple of thoughts about that. I kind of wanted to, obviously Star Wars is not the only franchise that does this, as far as I believe, where they just take fan theories and just do the complete opposite.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to talk about this because I feel like, as many of you know, because only people we know will actually watch this, we're also filmmakers, or aspiring to be. So the way a film is composed for us is really important, and whether it works is really important for us as well. And one of the biggest things about films is motivations, not just for characters in films, but for filmmakers to do a particular thing.
Yeah.
And not doing something because it already is a fan theory and trying to do something that is unexpected is not a very good reason to do things.
Yeah, it's not the smartest reason. If you're going to do something unexpected, it's because you have to believe it's what's right for the story. It can't be that you just do it because no one will see it coming. It's just one of those things where having a plot twist just for the sake of having a plot twist is not a good reason to have a plot twist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like one of the things that in particular comes up, these are things that are kind of like some people like them, some people don't like them.
Yeah.
So obviously for the Last Jedi, this is a spoiler warning, but for anything else that we talk about, it's down below.
Yeah.
That said, Rey's heritage was kind of, the way that they came by it was basically people had all kinds of theories about her being like the child of Skywalker or the child of Kenobi.
Yeah, being Kenobi, a Skywalker, being something that already existed in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, and Rian Johnson basically said, no, she's the child of two drunks who died on Jakku.
Yeah.
Because that's the most unexpected.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think it kind of worked if it was a lie.
In my opinion, it does. It does work if it's true, and it does work if it's a lie as well. And obviously, also a quick note, if you have not heard, J.J. Abrams is going to be coming back to direct Episode 9 now.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was going to be John Trevorrow. If you don't know who he is, he has done Jurassic World. Now, once again, it will be J.J. Abrams. So it's more than likely that J.J. Abrams could come in and try and do what he tried to do before and have Rey actually be someone relatively important. Because obviously Rian Johnson was the writer-director, and he's obviously going to have a different take on what he wants to do than what J.J. Abrams wanted. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is. Every writer-director is different. However, I do view that if you're going to do a trilogy, especially if it's Star Wars, you have to have at least the same writer for each 3 films or the same director to keep the continuity. But obviously that's not what Disney did, and it's a learning curve. It clearly, for some people, it didn't work. Some people, it did work. I will say for Rey's parentage, I think, like I said, either way works. I do understand what they were trying to do with sort of, Rey is no one because the Force kind of elevated her to the level of what a Skywalker is because it had to balance things out between her and Kylo Ren. But at the same time, I think it still makes sense if she is someone as well that already exists in the Star Wars universe and canon because, well, or she's the daughter of someone, just simply because then it gives her, once again, that sort of more, I guess you could say, that more power, I guess, in some weird ways.
I see what you're saying. The thing is, I didn't like that explanation that much because, the whole thing in, like, the original trilogy where Leia turned out to be Luke's sister and everyone turned to be related somehow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like that because the whole idea of the Force is basically that it connects everything.
Yeah.
And like it makes people be something to each other relevant to what it is. And I feel like if Rey is really no one, then she isn't really connected with anyone or anything. And so her whole character doesn't really have there's no reason for her to actually possess the Force. And that's kind of a sad thing about it. Whereas if she was related, even if she was related to like Snoke in a way, that would be odd if he would be her grandpa or something. But even if that would be like a link or something, there would already be something there. But this is just kind of like taking it away from everything and just saying, well, she is Force sensitive because, the classic Stephen Moffat reason, why not?
Yeah, I do understand like people's point. Definitely, like, it feels like it's a weak reason to have her be in it. Like, she's just there. And I also, like, I do understand both points of view, but at the same time, it's one of those things where I think if Star Wars ends up like, everyone is connected in some weird way, it's like, it's a bit like too much like Game of Thrones in that sense. Like, everyone is something, it's like, well, I think that's pointless to me because then I think if you walk into a cinema, it's like, Finn is clearly like Luke's son. Why? Because it's Star Wars and everyone is someone. I mean, that's a bad example.
I will say there are theories where like Finn is Lando Calrissian's son, but I think it's a bit far-fetched.
That's too far-fetched. But
I mean, it's probable that he's maybe his illegitimate son, because we know that Lando gets around. So
damn Lando, all those bastard children
with your fancy ships.
But I think it's, for me, with Rey, it's, in my opinion, there's nothing they can realistically do, in my opinion. Whereas, like, if it's like if it's episode 9 comes around, oh, she's the daughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or granddaughter. Sorry, I think that makes sense. If she's the granddaughter of Obi-Wan Kenobi, or the daughter of Luke Skywalker, I think it'll be one of those things where it's like that's just too predictable. Like it's the weird form with Rey. It's going to be either one way or the other, where it's either too predictable or it's not satisfying enough for some people, and that's the problem. Because if it's the predictable route, all the Star Wars fanatics, I'm not going to call you fans because you're crazy, in all honesty. You're going to be like, yeah, it's about time. Like, yeah, but it's so lame. It's like you don't want them to remake the original trilogy. Yeah, but then it's like no, I am your. It's like it's the exact same plot points, and that's what I kind of admired about Episode 8. And while yes, I think there are certainly flaws with it, I like the fact that it wasn't a carbon copy of Episode 5, and I still like Episode 7. It is though a carbon copy of Episode 4, and that's the thing that I do like about Episode 8. Like I said, it's not my favorite in the trilogy. I still prefer Episode 7, not because it's a remake though. Yeah. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you can't do it just because they've already done it. You do have to find new things to do, and that's the thing I think Star Wars fans are blowing out of proportion. That, oh, Disney is killing Star Wars. You're right, Star Wars is dying. It's dying because you're the ones killing it, because you're ruining it for other people by complaining. And
yeah, I mean, that I don't know about, because I still feel like fans should be, they should feel at liberty to feel passionate about the franchise.
Absolutely.
The problem is,
no, I'm not saying that.
And I'm not singling out anyone in particular, but there are like fans who have these theories of like how things should go.
Yeah.
That are so outlandish and so stupid that I'm like, well, now you're just making me feel like, no one's right and no one has a point and everyone is dumb.
Because it's one of those things where I've seen a lot of fans make Star Wars like fan fictions of how Episode 8 should go. First off, they're all terrible because they're written by fans who are not writers or filmmakers. So first off, you probably don't really know how to tell a proper story, or shouldn't be. And it'll be pandering to yourself. You're not making this for other people. You're making it for yourself. Second off, it's one of those things where it's been done, so you might as well let it go and kind of just move on. And I know that sounds like a dumb thing to say, but I'm trying to make a point saying Episode 8 is out. You may not like it. It's canon. There's still Star Wars Legends for you to hold on to. Plus, Episode 9 is coming out now. You also you just should look forward to what they're doing next, or start thinking about what they're doing next. And I'm going to say this as well for Star Wars fans. This is a recommendation. You should no longer try and put all your fan theories into it's definitely going to go this way. Because if you start doing that, you will always be disappointed because they'll never do what you want. You cannot assume that what a writer-director who is their own individual person with their own individual ideas, that they're going to do exactly what's in your head. Now, once again, I'm not saying that Episode 8 doesn't have its problems. I hate the casino. It has huge problems. I hate the casino scene. I do not like Rose. There are parts of it I still like.
I don't like Holdo at all as well, because she's the thing is, right, she's a weird character where she comes out of nowhere. She's never been introduced before, and we just have to assume that she is a vice general, but she's horrible at it because she never communicates with anyone about anything. And then at the end, everyone hails her as a hero.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm happy that we're bringing up Rose and the casino scene and Holdo, because this is actually another thing that happened recently, where there's some guy who thought to himself, you know what?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Fuck everything. These women are ruining my Star Wars. I'm going to re-edit Star Wars Episode 8, and I'm going to cut out all of the women.
Oh my god, that video. Dude, come on.
Did you...
It's a 45-minute film. Have you actually seen it?
No, I did see...
2 words. Fucking dumb.
It's fucking dumb, and I saw the perfect reaction someone had to it. So this person edited it without all the women. Someone then went back and said, fuck you. They re-edited Saving Private Ryan without all the men. And the thing is, it's actually scary good because it's airy as fuck. It's such a perfect thing. It was the best reaction, I thought.
I can't watch this now.
It's so good.
It's obviously trolling.
It's trolling, yeah. But the other thing is, I'll actually say this, the Saving Private Ryan thing is actually somewhat good because it's kind of airy. Because it's still a war film, you think that's spooky. It's like the real showing you what happened to all those men. They disappeared, but that was just the perfect reaction. It's fuck you, Star Wars fanatics. If you're going to do that, we can do. And the thing,
that's the thing. You can do it, but The thing that I hated about it is they cut Holdo out, which was fine with me because I hated that character. They minimized Rose's character and they minimized Finn's characters because they were honestly useless in The Last Jedi. That's fair enough. The problem is they cut out a lot of things that I just kind of don't understand. Like the way it goes in the defeminized edition, or the chauvinist cut as it is also called, is Luke without...
Or the dumbass cunt.
Well, yeah.
Cut, we'll call it.
The dumbass cut.
Yeah.
Basically, Luke, without any hesitation, takes Rey as a student for no reason whatsoever. The whole thing with Ren killing Snoke happens with no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
Rose is there for no reason whatsoever. But my favorite bit is Poe essentially replaces Holdo at the end. So they edited it in such a way that he's the one doing the warp to light speed.
Okay.
So he's supposed to be dead. But then on the Salt Planet,
he's
just there again. At first they have his voice, while not really showing his face, and I'm like, okay, well maybe you can kind of believe that's someone else. But then you actually see him sitting in one of those spots.
I bet you if I met this person who was dumb enough to edit it like this, like, how do you explain that? Oh, well, you see, Poe did the lightspeed thing, then he got into the escape pod. No, you showed him die. No, it didn't. No, you physically did. You didn't show us him hopping into an escape pod and then getting away. He's like...
I love how you just went half Australian.
Oh, fucking cunts, man. They're all so dumb. It's just...
Look, Jesus Christ, mate.
Also, I will say...
Avocado.
Guys, if you're a Star Wars fan and you're listening to this, if you say, I prefer the prequels to The Last Jedi, that is perfectly fine to me. You are allowed to say that. But if you say The Last Jedi is a worse film than episodes 1 or 2, 3 I'll give you a little leeway with, but 1 or 2, I will just flat out say it's not. It's not, because the problem is, episodes 1 and 2 are poorly made films, not just because of the story or the dialogue or a lot of the acting. It's poor CGI. It's poor special effects. It's poor
storytelling.
It's poor everything. The films are badly made. And if you're one of those people who defends episode 2, oh, it's good because of the last 20 minutes. Sorry, in a 2-hour or 2-hour 10-minute film, for 20 minutes of it to be good, that's not acceptable.
It's not really justifiable.
It's not justifiable in any way. And even then, the sort of bit on Geonosis with the clones and fighting the Geonosians, the special effects have somewhat become outdated to the point where it's like, yeah, it's good, but the problem is there are so many other things that are better than this now, and so many other better action sequences, and that's the problem. A lot of the stuff in episode 2 is just outdated and just doesn't work anymore. In episode 1, I actually will say this, episode 1 is better than episode 2. I will say that, and if you do rewatch it, you'll probably hopefully understand why. Episode 2 is Twilight, but for Star Wars. That's what it is.
No, sad, but the dialogue is piss poor.
Oh, and the acting from Hayden Christensen.
No, I'm not gonna lie. The dialogue, every dialogue between Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman is comedy gold. It's right up there with The Room.
I hate sand. It gets everywhere. No, I was so confused as to what sand does. I thought it was smooth and it doesn't get anywhere. The fact... We can't be... It's just bad Romeo and Juliet.
Not just that, but the beautiful bit where he kills all those sand people, and he just goes, I slaughtered them like animals, the women and children too, and I'm like, which one of them were women and children? They had no height difference, they had no distinct features. How did you? But the best line is, I hate them all. And I'm like, you just slaughtered them.
Yeah,
and
we
you
kind
cried
of
because
get
you
the
killed
point.
them, and then you're like, oh, I'll just justify it by hating them. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
It's just so...
I love that movie for all the wrong reasons.
I can't even watch it for those reasons.
Good. It's so good.
I can't stand it. I typically, if I ever rewatch them, I think, okay, this is what I'm going to do. When I rewatch episode 2, I don't watch any scenes between Anakin and Padme. I watch all the Obi-Wan stuff, but not their scenes.
Yeah.
The Battle of Geonosis, I watch the arena, then the battle, and then when it comes down to the fight between Anakin and Count Dooku, I actually skip that because it's just a bunch of close-up shots of this, and it's you can't even tell what the fuck is going on. It's so badly framed, and the cinematography there is poor. And then I skip that to the Yoda fight because that's actually not bad. Yeah. And then that's sort of it. And actually, in the end, it's sort of a 40-minute movie. I think that is a good episode 2. No, it's not. It's a watchable episode 2.
Yeah. But these films, without question, are as far as preference goes, whatever. But in quality, they are worse than Last Jedi. For me, Last Jedi is my second least favorite.
Okay.
Like above those two.
Fair enough. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And as far as I feel.
Yeah, no,
quality as well.
Absolutely. I think in terms of my favorites, Last Jedi, there's, for me, my favorites, in no particular order, Rogue One, Empire Strikes Back, Force Awakens,
the original,
Return of the Jedi. I mean, not Return of the Jedi, A New Hope. And actually, no, Revenge of the Sith. That's more of a guilty pleasure because I do love the final.
I don't actually think it's a bad film.
No, actually, no, it's not a bad. Actually, no, there are cringy moments in it. But the thing is, there aren't that many of them. There's like maybe 3-4 of them dispersed throughout the film, but they're sort of like, and then it moves on quite quickly. And that's the best part. It moves on very quickly. It moves on from those moments.
It's kind of like watching Revenge of the Sith is kind of, it makes watching the first 2 episodes worth it. Yeah. But you still kind of wish you didn't have to watch them.
Yeah. Because
you kind of wish that it was just compiled into 1 2-hour-long movie. Of Anakin Skywalker.
Also, I will say once again, it's one of those things where I did go back, and I know I didn't go back. I watched someone else's their own version of the prequels. First off, once again, this is someone on YouTube. I don't remember. Let me see if I can find him. I'll look it up later and put his channel in the description, whatever. But the thing is, he made it, and it's one of those things where I thought he had some good ideas, but the problem is it's still very fan-like, and that's the problem. Whatever fans produce, and I'm sorry to be the one who says this to you guys, is almost definitely worse than whatever a filmmaker can do. And it's not because you're not creative. They're professionals. They are paid to do this. That is their job for a living. They're meant to come up with stories. They're meant to come up with directions for actors. They're paid to do this for a living. So they're very good at what they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paid to do it. It's just that a lot of the time, the fan stuff is pandering. It's self-indulging. And more importantly, it's really cringy lots because you put in a lot of comical moments that you think are funny, but when other people who either aren't Star Wars fans or people who are filmmakers or Star Wars fans or people who are mega Star Wars fans or just watch it in general, and they go, oh, it's one of those moments. And one of the good things that he actually did suggest, which I did support, is that they should have started in the prequels from when Anakin was not a kid, from when he was a teenager and already Obi-Wan's apprentice. I thought that was a good idea because it launches us into the story and we kind of already can get a sense of who Anakin might be. That I thought was a good idea because of the yippee or I'll spin, that's a cool trick.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, if there's going to be a new trilogy of Star Wars, just do it in some other era.
Yeah, I think they need to move on from the Skywalker stuff.
The Skywalker stuff they've just exhausted completely.
Yeah, no.
Like there's nothing to. And
to be fair, if Ben dies at the end of Episode 9, if Kylo Ren dies, then the Skywalker name does die with him. Like he is the last, as far as we know, he is the last surviving Skywalker who can produce.
Ish. I mean, he's practically a Solo, but
yeah, he is he's a Solo Skywalker.
He's got the Skywalker gene anyway. In any case, what I do want to say about what fans do isn't very good, is basically the thing that I hated the most about the dumbass cut is basically the whole time that I was watching it, every time something happened, it didn't have a motivation at all. Yeah. Like people did things for no apparent reason. People just kind of went along with everything. Yeah. And motivation, as I said, is one of the most important principles in filmmaking. So if that is missing from your movie isn't good. Yeah. And so I'm going to have to quickly, I think also we'll move on to another topic fairly soon. But just one last thing is, this actually doesn't just concern Star Wars fans. This concerns almost every single fan base. Marvel fans, DC fans, Dragon Ball Z fans, whatever. Everything. Most fans, but it's true. Especially and they're some of the worst. But Star Wars fans, this concerns them almost more than anyone else, is they feel a sense of entitlement. What we say has to be in a movie. Yeah. It doesn't. Yes, Disney should consider it. They should hear you out. But they have the right, as the people who are making these $200 million films, sorry, you don't have that kind of cash lying around, they do, to throw it at a movie that they're making for you and say, we like your idea, but we're going to go in a different direction. That's the thing they'll always say. In other words, they think your idea is shit, but they're going to be nice to you.
I like what you guys said before. Yeah. Like, it's really true. I mean, first of all, it's been like more than 20 years, 30 years. You have to go with the times sometimes. Yeah. You can't just be stuck in the
40 years now, isn't it? Yeah. So it's crazy how long it's come.
And I think on that note, the last thing is Star Wars fans. The new Star Wars trilogy is not for you. It is for the next generation of Star Wars fans who are growing up with this. Yes, it is made with you in mind. They're not forgetting you in any way. But you're not their main priority. They want to produce a new generation of Star Wars fans who are going to love what you love in an entirely new way. And that's the thing Disney is constantly also thinking about. They're concerned about the next generation of fans who will be the ones going to see these movies. Like I said, they still keep you in mind, but the reality is you are no longer the primary fans for them. And in a lot of cases, you're not the primary fans at all. The new generation of people who are either 25 or younger, between the ages of 25 and 10, I'll say, they're the new generation of fans that are growing up, who either grew up with the prequels and hate them, like me, and you.
Hate is a strong word.
Maybe not hate, but wish we had something better. That would probably be a better word. And kind of are happy with what Disney's doing, mainly because, well, it's a better quality, so we can sit down and say, and don't get me wrong, we're still going to have our criticisms of it. Sure. But at the same time, it's one of those things where Disney has taken something that nearly was completely killed off. And no offense to the Star Wars fans who love George Lucas, by George Lucas himself, he nearly killed it himself, and revived it because they saw potential in it. Yes, they took all the stuff that was Legends and said it was no longer canon. That's because they also want to do their own thing, which is fair enough. Every director, writer, executive has a right to do their own thing in Star Wars.
Yeah, I do like what Ron said before. It's like, because we went to film school together. We did.
We all did, yeah.
Yeah, it's what we learned is, as Ron said before, it's very hard to be innovative. There's a bunch of stories that have been just redone, and sometimes it's not the worst thing to just follow a storyline that's simple. You get involved with the characters. You get involved with what's happening. It's happening with them and what they're doing.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember saying that, but
no.
Enough.
But along those lines, we had our aspirations of telling our own stories.
And
well, let me remind you.
Hello, Mikey. I'm so fucking pissed right now. I just want to let you know that I love you, and I just want to tell you that it's really hard to be, innovative nowadays, and things are being done over and over and over again, but it's okay to go by things that are already in existence, that kind of thing. Christ.
Yeah, I can hear a bunch of executives at Disney now being like, "Yeah, guys, you're right. Like, totally."
We spent $250 million.
Disney, because you did make a pretty bad film that is like the second above only two of the prequels.
Dude, let's not shit talk Disney. Like, I'm afraid. I'm honestly scared.
But also by us.
But
remember how all the actors from like Marvel films are scared when they're supposed to talk about any Marvel film? They're like, "Yeah, I can talk about that." And it's like, "Help me, please help me."
Also, I will say quickly, to whoever came up with this idea, I will find you and I will brutally murder you. You made a petition to have Disney remake Episode 8. These films cost $200 million. This film made $1.2 billion. They're not going to remake it just because you don't like it.
No,
that you're crazy. You are actually crazy if you think they'll do that for you.
It got box office success.
Yeah, it's a box office hit, and critics do love it. You may not like it, but critics love it, and it made its money back, and then some. There's no way they'd remake it just for a few thousand Star Wars fans. You need to be able to swallow your pride, say, I don't like the film.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next film that I may or may not like, which is Han Solo, and I think...
Which we still haven't seen the trailer for.
Oh, fucking trailer! To be fair, I did see somewhere that a tweet saying, "Oh, we'll be getting it soon." So I suspect we'll probably get it either at the beginning of February or by the end of January. I suspect we'll be looking to get it roughly around that sort of time.
Just want to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't like being held in the dark for so long when the film's supposed to come out in like 4 months now.
Yeah, 4 months now.
With the critics, do you guys not think that Marvel and like Disney have like their hands intertwined? Like,
do I leave it in? Do I cut it out? Please don't sue us, Disney.
probably. The thing
Oh,
is,
no,
I don't.
absolutely.
I didn't say it. I was just asking
The thing is, right?
question.
I want to say yes, but at the same time, there's a lot of franchises that, from my
'Cause-
opinion, like Warner Brothers as well, who could buy all if that is
Yeah,
kind of
and they
accept-
haven't,
but they haven't.
obviously, because
'Cause
of how poorly a lot
Marvel
of these.
plus Disney and Warner Brothers.
It's not even just that.
They
Remember,
could do
what
well.
didn't Disney make John Carter, and wasn't that just completely trashed?
It was
by,
shat on.
Yeah,
completely.
it was shat on by everyone. So I think Star Wars is. I think also critics are usually a little more off put by, let's say, maybe franchises, especially if it's Marvel, Disney. I think it's more that the critics are a little more intimidated because they realize they're not dealing with one group of fans. They're dealing with all the groups of fans that are going to come on down them if they
Yeah.
hate what you love.
Be it as
That's the thing.
Be it as it may, even if Disney buys critics over, even if they do that,
Yeah.
they wouldn't do all of them.
Absolutely.
But then
they would do it probably for like the big major films like Infinity War and Star Wars, but they wouldn't do it for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Sure, but like the vast majority of critics are like, you know, are
And
like
Rotten
in
Tomatoes is a
agreement about this.
Warner Brothers investment as well. That's the thing. Like Warner Brothers invested in Rotten Tomatoes, so like
How did Justice League get a horrible rating then?
that's the thing. Like
That is
it's clear that
hilarious.
they don't actually influence
That
the
is fucking
decisions
amazing.
like that, and that's a good sign. But anyway,
Maybe
think-
they're the ones who gave a horrible rating on Star Wars on the
they're
viewers.
like, it's
They
so bad.
From
they
the
influenced
audience
the
where they
pop-
just kept saying, didn't like it, didn't like it.
Just like this. But I guess then moving on to now,
Yeah.
I guess we're talking a little bit about sort of like Disney and Marvel. So I guess we can move on
Yeah.
to like Marvel stuff now.